Roblox strategy games. It is a growing niche in Roblox. There are different games ranging from real-time simulators to flat map and globe games. Well, today I will be trying to play all of these games for 15 hours straight. So here are the rules. Number 1, I cannot leave Roblox and have to play all 15 hours. Number 2, I have to rate each and every game based on a certain criteria. I will talk about this later. Lastly, not lose my mental sanity. Anyway, let's get into the first game. First game that I will be playing is Medieval RTS. It is a medieval game where you are a king of a kingdom with medieval style troops. It is a classical strategy game, which is what caused me to start this channel. Anyway, the main goal is to find the best RTS game. So here is the rating. The rating will be conducted based on 4 different criteria: fun, and tutorial, and my personal biased opinion. But first let's try the tutorial before I give my final rating. I will not make you sit and watch this entire tutorial because I presume it would be boring. Anyway, the tutorial covers the main aspects of the game, in how to make and upgrade farms, how to make boats, how to make units, and all of the simple stuff. It also has an entire back library for questions and help on different topics of the game. That is only one part of rating this game. What about the other 2, you may ask? Well, strategy-wise, in most of the games I've played, all you need to do is spam knights and rush. Maybe get higher units later on if needed. But this is a very fun game, as being a medieval king and destroying an enemy after a lot of strategy and work gives a big dopamine hit, which you will notice is common in almost all strategy games. So here are the scores, and let's move on to the next. Now before we hop into the next game, you guys may be wondering what the X factor is. Well, every strategy game is unique, thus I have separated the timeline of what I played to fit those themes like RTS, then map-based, and then real-world based. Thus each game is very unique in their own way, so to honour that I will be adding an X factor that is specific to each game, because why not? Okay, so Conquerors 3 is a similar game to Medieval RTS. The only difference is that this game is set in a modern setting, with different armed soldiers, tanks and so on. It was kind of fun, but I had to wait for half an hour before playing the game, just for a low player count. But in the end I got into a match, where the map looked like USA and Canada. I'm going to build a wall firing. Anyway, the strategy is really deep, and many units counter each other, so I was confused on what to do when the enemy attacked. And the tutorial was simple and had a similar format to Medieval RTS, so I'm not going to review it again. But from what I have noticed, skins are a huge part of this game, but I wasn't able to understand how to equip half the skins. Anyway, here is the final rating, and on to the next. Now it's time for a Napoleonic game, Conquest 2. This is a strategy game that was a remake of the original Conquest made by Woodlegs. This game focuses on you being a commander of a number of different units from the Napoleonic times. This is a really fun game, and I would recommend you try this after if it looks interesting. Anyway, there is no tutorial for this game, but the UI is straightforward, plus having instructions in the game's description. The gameplay itself is team-based, where you can't really charge on your own without causing a major loss for your team. Here is the rating, and let's move on to the next. If you have watched the video this far, that means that you are interested in strategy games. If that's so, then I would recommend you subscribe to my channel, as I make weekly videos on Roblox strategy games. Ages of Iron 4 is a similar game to Conquest 2. Apparently the game's code and most of the assets were from Conquest 2. The developers are the same, but this game is set during the Roman period, with Roman-style troops and elephants for some reason. Well, I'm going crazy. Anyway, the games are almost similar, so here is the rating, and on to the next. It's already been 4 hours and I don't know how. Until now, all the games we played were either copies of each other or were just kinda mid. And I didn't realise at that time that this is only the tip of the iceberg, and that there was a lot more to come. But in the meantime it was midnight, and since I was hungry I got a chicken sandwich meal with nuggets from McDonald's, and absolutely housed that meal. This maybe was just enough to help me complete the challenge. Oh yes, it's time for my favourite game, Mini Empires. This one of the most high quality RTS games I have seen, and I am not glazing, trust me, go check out this game. It is, on God, going to change your life. Anyway, Mini Empires is pretty simple. Similar to Medieval RTS. You control an empire and try to end all your enemies before they end you. There is no tutorial but only a guide, which again explains most of the basic information. The strategy in the game is a lot less complicated as of right now, as all you need to do is spam a bunch of gunners and push the enemy base. Other than that, the game is goated. Mini Kingdoms is a relatively unknown game. You may ask, how did I find out about this game? Well, there is this YouTuber called Build to Last, who made a video about the process of creating this game. so I thought, why not check it out? There were literally no players. I played through the tutorial, which left me out halfway. I know that the game is still in early development, but I would like you guys to go support this legend. Anyway, this is my rating and time for the next game. Now, as you can see, this video is getting quite boring, and if I can't be entertained, then I won't be able to complete this competition and just quit right now. But I can't do that because I need to rate all the strategy games on Roblox and find the best one. So let's see if the next game can help with that. Now, Empire Clash is no ordinary strategy game. Like medieval RTS, it is set during the medieval times where you battle using and against 4 different nations. This game has a boatload of different classes, weapons, and a whole economy system. This was the one game that got me hooked for hours on end, like a year ago. But it has been a while since I have played this game, and playing it brought some joy which I hadn't noticed at the time. I guess this game might be the push I needed to finish this challenge and rate the final game. Maybe it's not about which games are the best, but maybe about the experiences we have in it. Now you guys may be wondering, what is the question mark about? Well, I knew that I would get tired of only playing strategy games for 8 hours straight. So, to ease things off, I decided to help one of my fellow creators on a video he was making. By the way, it has just a bunch of chaos. Now, to sum up what we did and not to spoil his video, you guys should check him out. We tested this drone thing in a game about Israel and Hamas. Yeah, I have gone off the rails now. Anyway, this drone thing can shoot missiles and do a bunch of crazy stuff. If you guys would like to check the video out, it will be in the description. Also, all the games you see here will be linked in the description if you are interested. But I'm not going to rate this game as it isn't a strategy game. Let's move on. War Command is a simple game. It is a simple RTS game which you can play to chill. Even if quality is nowhere near the other games, it is still well polished with a concise unit pool. Thus, here is the rating for this game. Now that we are done with RTS and miscellaneous games, it is time for the beasts of strategy games. Since these games vary a lot compared to the previous games, I will be assigning a new criteria. This will allow for the game to be evenly judged. And let's start with the first game. This next game, called Conquer the World, this game is the first of the map games which has a simple design. A unique part of this game is each unit is tile attached, meaning for the unit to move from one place to another, it needs to go from tile to tile, which brings a whole new set of strategy needed to transport and attack with troops. Other than that, the game is not that difficult in public servers. The meta is very short, as you will usually win before you get to tanks. Thus the 10th hour is complete and we move on to the next game. The next 3 hours were hell, as I was drifting in and out of sleep, but I had to push through. I had to win every game I played and rate every game I played. So the next game I played is called Myok 2, where you run a country in the modern world. Even if the quality is on the lower end, the unit drafting and the AI that fights is unique. As you are not allowed to control the units move on their own. Thus, wrong position of your units can cause you to lose the game. Thus, this is my rating and we move on. The next game is a really high quality game. It is called Universal's Remastered, and the game is placed in the 18th century. It has old formables, and a lot of skill is needed to learn this game. If you don't believe me, I had to watch an entire playlist of videos to understand the basics, and I am still shit at the game, which says a lot, I guess. This means that to win a game here, it takes a lot more time, and a lot of people leave, so I tried my best as Sweden in this case. Next is a relatively unknown game called Triumph of War 3. As of recording this video, the game is in beta and is going through some fixes. Thus, it is unavailable, but believe me when I say this, the community and the gameplay around in this game is so good and welcoming. This game is basically a refurbished version of Heo 4, I am telling you, when I first played this game. The amount of features, even if development is not done, is crazy. Anyway, I am telling you guys, go try this game out. After it releases, trust, you will be amazed. Lastly, before we play the beast that is Rise of Nations, we will play the second most famous strategy game, that is Control Europe. This game is placed in modern Europe, which has a lot of formables that make the game interesting. The map is simple and similar to Conquer the World, but the units are free to move, unlike Conquer the World. This game has a lot more complex strategy, as the unit pool is a lot larger, and a lot of counters are present within that unit pool. And here is my final rating. Alas Rise of Nations. Well known as the first globe map game in Roblox, the amount of complexity in this game is insane. A normal player without watching any tutorials will be cooked in the first 10 minutes of playing, and that is generous. This game was what most probably inspired almost all other map-based strategy games in Roblox. The amount of fun you will get after actually understanding what you're doing gives more joy than any other game can offer. Lastly, all I can do is rate this game. In the end, maybe it's not about which strategy game is the best, maybe it is about the moments, the wins, and the amount of tutorials you have watched to get here. The friends and the community formed around strategy games is insane that even I can't comprehend it. Or maybe I'm just tweaking and surviving on 5 red balls.
Well, my collar's blue and my neck is red. I've been